All right. I pulled up an article by NME.
What's NME
Music
stand for?
News.
Music
Music News. NME. Oh shit! It can't be music news. Music news entertainment.
News, music, entertainment, maybe.
That just. NME. I don't think anyone says it's NME. I think they go NME.
Meh.
Pulled up the latest article. So I saw this on Facebook and I thought it was interesting. And I think it's interesting for a lot of different reasons. So what's happening is U2 is announcing that they're I texted it to you. Do you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh. So U2 announced album of reimagined and re-recorded tracks, Song of Surrender. When I saw this article, I had 3 different ideas that popped in my head right away, but just to give an idea. So they're doing a compilation album of reimagined, re-recorded tracks. I guess The Edge sent everyone a fan letter, certain people, fan letters. And,
so are all those songs really from the 20th century, not the 21st century?
It seems possible.
The record will see the band give 40 of their past songs a 21st century reimagining. So has the century really changed since they released?
Well, no, it's the new reimagining, right?
I'm just asking about the number, 21st versus 20th century. Like, did they really release them in the 20th century? That was before 2000, right?
Yeah, most of them. But no, they had Beautiful Day, which was 2001, I think. So, I mean, a lot of them. So in here it goes, when a song becomes well known, it's always associated with a particular voice. I can't imagine Tangled Up in Blue without the reedy timbre of Bob Dylan, or All the Time in the World without the unique voice of Louis Armstrong. So, and he's talking about voice, but they're getting into, how they wrote songs and artists, how it matures. Because we've all seen like these artists that were in their 20s and then they're still playing in their 50s. And instead of the song maturing, the song's just dead.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about as a band matures, you would tackle a song differently than you would at 20. So like part of that kind of excites me. Like if I was the musician I was, I can't say now because I'm not that great, but you get the idea, right?
Well, expand. Get me the idea.
Well, give me the idea. To go back and write my first songs with the talent I have now, which isn't amazing talent by any means, but as
but when
better
you compare
than
yourself to 20 years ago, right?
Yeah. So think about like a hardened band that's. I mean, I love U2. I like U2. I don't love them anymore. So for them to go with new eyes and see their songs in a new light, I like the concept.
Older eyes, actually.
All right. New old eyes, like that guy with 9 fingers. I like the concept, but here's the thing that I think about U2. I think they ruin their songs.
How so? What do they do to ruin them?
They overcook them. They get a pot of meat and they let it stew. So one album, I think it was the last one, Bono took all the lyrics away. Some big political thing happened. He took all the lyrics out. It was supposed to be kind of this aging rock star thing, and he made it all political. And it's balls.
No.
It's literal balls.
There's a good point made by a musician that I deeply respect, and he said that, like musicians and reality are far from each other. They should not be bringing much of their personal views and stating that as they've got some kind of authority, because they're pretty, just by the fact of making your career as a musician means you're pretty far away from what anchors most of people in reality, right?
Yeah.
Like you're floating above all that. So you can have your views, you can have your opinions, but maybe shut the hell up about them and just make art, right? Maybe just produce art.
And even, yes, I completely agree. But nobody wants to I don't want to hear 12 tracks that are politically heavy. Not that I care about Bono's personal life that much either, but I'm like, he has at times been a great songwriter. But I think what happens is they stew that pot and they're like, well, if we sprinkle this in, we sprinkle that in. We wait 2 more, like they're notorious for waiting 3 to 4 years extra time and continue to work on the album the whole time.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
So, and it brought up, when I was reading this, it brought up a story that I remember.
Basically.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of George Lucas in the prequels. No, because like he he has all the money in the world. He could have done whatever he wanted to. And because of that, you got Jar Jar Binks. U2 is basically producing Jar Jar Binks.
So I've heard this idea from a film critic that I watched on YouTube, and he says something like to the effect of, you have these directors and these writers who, when they're putting their initial works out, or their great works out, they're under a lot of scrutiny. There's a lot of pushback against them. They're developing their reputation. Then they've landed their reputation. They've solidified it with this great epic masterpiece. And all of a sudden, no one's pushing back on them anymore. No one's giving them critical feedback. Everyone's just like, here's whatever amount of money you want. Everyone's going to accept everything you say as gospel, and now run with it, and don't get a big head. Don't do stupid nonsense things. Of course you're never going to be as good alone, isolated in your little bubble, as you're going to be with people being like, no, that's a really terrible idea.
That's a shitty idea. That's a shitty idea.
Yeah, you should just rework that, because that's garbage. Like, that's going to push you to whole new heights.
Yep. Yes men. You're surrounded by yes men.
Yes.
And I think you're even surrounded by yes men, but you also think your shit doesn't stink.
Yep.
And I get it.
Really
I mean,
bad place to be.
Yeah, if you can't smell stuff. How do you not end up in a situation like that? I totally understand. And part of I'd love to be in that situation where my shit doesn't stink, where you're on the upper echelon of talent and skill and adoration. I've never had any of those things. No adoration, none.
You can pay for the adoration at least.
I can, but the streets are tough. With the George Lucas thing, a lot of people know this, I think, now, but like Star Wars, the first one was saved in the edit. So his wife at the time was one of his main editors. And so I think, there's some great YouTube documentaries on it where they talk about all the shitty scenes that were in Star Wars, how it wasn't paced right, how every scene was too long.
Pacing is so important.
Yeah, but then you look at the prequels, I say that word weird, and the pacing's terrible. The acting's terrible. There's so many little things because he just didn't have that. In my mind, he didn't have that feedback. Now, again, George Lucas is the god of film as far as I'm concerned, but God makes mistakes too.
Well, especially when no one is telling him what he's doing wrong, right?
Yeah.
Because you are blind to your own shortcomings for the most part. You need someone to say this isn't working. Otherwise, you don't know it's not working. You build up an image in your head while you're in the creative process, and you can no longer see clearly. You're too close to it. Right?
Yeah. No, so it reminds me of another story with U2 where they worked. You know who Rick Rubin is, right? Yeah. They worked with him.
Maybe
I think 3 to 6.
Just for anyone who's
So
all
just
the 10 people.
I mean, a producer 7.5. Producer that's worked with everyone from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Tom Petty. He's a guru kind of guy. He sits there and he works with Metallica. I think he's worked with Metallica. But he sits there and he's not the producer that goes, all right, these 3 chords, you got to do this, you got to do that. He goes, oh, that feels great. Oh yeah. Oh, that's he's the guy who got Johnny Cash to do the Hurt or 9 Inch Nails Hurt.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Guru is the great word for it.
Death Magnetic by Metallica was produced by Rick Rubin.
Okay. Just a fucking, you see him, he's got a big bushy beard, long hair, gives no fucks.
He does look like a wizard.
Yeah. He's very wizardy. I'll put a wizardy
or
picture
Santa
of him.
Claus. He's more like a Santa Claus kind of character, I think.
Santa's kind of a wizard as far as I'm concerned. As far as wizards go.
True.
So here's the point, though. U2 worked with him 3 to 6 months. They scratched everything.
Whoa, really? That seems like a waste.
And dude, I've heard a couple there's been leaked B-sides or leaked Bono's notorious for like losing stuff, so they've like an album went out that wasn't supposed to go out. There was some good fucking shit in there. Before I think they sat and go, let's add more salt, let's add more pepper, let's add more this.
Yeah.
That's sad. The overthinking. Everyone does it, right? We all, even in the level that we're at, we overthink too much. I do.
Well, so my favorite band is Hurt, right? And they have released, like, I think they're the first, you could call, like, recorded album they did. They kind of, it was pieced together through, from what I've gathered from, like, sessions snuck in here and there. It was very, very non-professionally done. Like, their first professional album was called Volume 1, so this is before that. And like, he, you know, the singer-songwriter considers that, like, rough versions of material, kind of like unpolished, unfinished versions for the most part. And I love that album. Like, there's the rawness to it. There's an energy there, and you can't fake that. You know, you can overproduce it till it's gone, but you can't fake that. You know, it's authentic. And so, I think it's the striving for perfection, and perfection isn't beautiful, right?
No, it's not. No, it's very finite and callous almost. Or callous isn't exactly the right word, but it's not as pleasing to our ear.
Maybe
soulless might be a great word.
Crush the soul out of it.
Yeah. No, and I think that's like, I listened from 2000 with U2, All That You Can't Leave Behind. The Edge, whose soundscape is just amazing, got thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner as it goes, and I'm just like, it's just where's the beauty? Where's that AC30 that you're so fucking known for playing?
Right.
The other thing is, it almost becomes a little bit like self gratification, because later in this article they talk about Bono. Oh, let me see this. Oh, here's where it was. So it talks in this article about how they redid, and I've not listened to this yet, so there's a small sample that I will listen to after this. My computer's all hooked up. I didn't want to unhook it. So it brings on a powerful piano-driven snippet of Beautiful Day, which see Bono impressively trading vocals with harpist, keyboardist, I'm going to slaughter that name, Gemma Doherty.
Gemma Doherty, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds, that sounds closer to English. I'm just saying, like, Beautiful Day is pretty fucking perfect in my mind. And to think that you're going to reimagine it, I could see, like, you take I don't know. It sounds like you're making the song weak. It doesn't need, you don't need to trade anything with the harpist. The Beautiful Day doesn't need that.
I mean, I guess we'll see, right? We can always have a listen to it once it's released and then compare. I am suspicious of what this is going to sound like. Yeah. But I'm going to reserve my judgment for actually hearing it, right? Because
I like that. That's maturity.
I can't call it in advance. And it also helps that I'm not a deeply invested fan of U2 to begin with. Like, I know they're big hits because, they play on the radio all the time, and they especially did when I was younger, and so I know those. But, like, I'm a casual listener of U2. Yeah. So if it was like, one of my favorite bands, and they're just like reimagining my favorite tracks that I thought were completely perfect, then maybe I'd be like, oh, well, that's just going to be stupid. But that's an emotional response, right?
And that's where I'm coming from. But I'm also looking at U2's last 3 albums and going, well, you guys haven't done shit in 3 albums. So, and they did a big Joshua Tree tour, which is a phenomenal album. So they did a big tour on that. It's like, so you guys are out of ideas? Is that what it is? And that's me being hypercritical. Yeah. And, I guess more power to them if you want to redo your classics. But it's just, when has Hollywood redone a movie and made it better?
Well, especially in recent times. Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, my God. Like, so bad. So bad.
And I guess that's where I go to, like, what do you guys, at the end of your career, is that where you want to be? No, I mean, do you really want to be the Rolling Stones either, which are playing their greatest hits only? Where's the line of, where do you want to be at the end of your career?
I'll definitely say, I'm impressed, say, like, with Roger Waters versus David Gilmour. Obviously, I'm a huge David Gilmour fan. I say obviously, but I am. Yeah. And so I see how the two, once Pink Floyd split, how the two kind of went off in their own separate directions. So Roger Waters has kept on reliving The Wall for the rest of his life, basically. That was like his thing, and he would just tour with it and do it.
Stadium tours over and over again.
Yeah. David Gilmour, on the other hand, went ahead and kept creating new music. Yeah. Like, just a few years ago, I bought a new album from David Gilmour. That was David Gilmour. It wasn't Pink Floyd. It was David Gilmour, right? And it's a great album. I love it.
Yeah.
You know.
No, and going back to Rick Rubin and Johnny Cash did those last 3 American albums. They're like American 1 through 5 or some bullshit like that. They were good fucking albums yet. At the end of his career, I look at Leonard Cohen, his last 2 albums I love, which is they're so down and sad and depressing I can never listen to them because, you know.
What's that one we used to listen to all the time?
You Want It Darker?
You Want It Darker. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Dude,
I listen to that a lot.
Yeah. I got to bring it back. It's just lately I've been trying to use music as a mood lifter. And You Want It Darker isn't a mood lifter.
Just by the title of it, it kind of hints at where you're going with that one. Yeah.
And then the other one was released after his death, and that one's a real downer too. It's a good fucking album, but it's a downer.
I haven't heard that one yet. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. No, I guess, yes, I like the idea of waiting till it comes out and we'll judge it then. I think it'd be kind of fun to listen to it. And then from your perspective, because you aren't as ingrained as me with it, it'd be fun for you to hear the new one and then listen to the old one.
We should just do like a video on that.
I like the idea.
That'd be great.
My prediction right now, and you can hold me to it, the new one's going to suck balls. It's literally going to be not well done. It's just not going to be well done.
Okay, I'm going to admit that's my prediction as well. Like,
yeah.
We can't really take bets here because I'm on the same side as you with assuming what's going to happen. But I don't know that, obviously I can't because time travel isn't in my my bag of tricks quite yet.
No. I guess I want to put suck balls into a better term. I think it's going to be a lot of like when they redo movies right now, it's all just winking to the audience. Like, hey, we did this because of this. We did this because you remember the past.
And it's playing off nostalgia, right? Like,
yeah.
It's kind of cheap in a sense. You're not taking any risk.
No, you're not. That's a great way to say it. You're not taking any risk, and are you making this better? Because when I heard the story in the beginning, I just went, oh shit. But my second is like, I like the idea of being a 50-year-old musician looking back at songs that I did at my 40 and can I do them better? Can I bring them to where they should have gone?
Right.
But in that paragraph, when they say harpist, that says to me, no, they're not bringing that song to where it belongs. It did not belong. There was no harp. There was no harp adjacent to that. I like arrangements like that. I do. I think that there's a time and a place for it. But you don't say it's
and artists for it, like different artists who have that as part of their sound. Like this is taking U2 and dramatically changing their sound, their signature sound, right? If you even just adding a harp in as like a featured instrument, that's a whole different soundscape than what they're known for, what they built up and what they mastered, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, yeah. So I have what I would like from them. And I guess that's the truth, though, too. When bands change and grow, people do bitch. They're like, U2 from Joshua Tree to Octoon Baby. I love that. I love that change. I love the soundscapes. I love what they went to. But when it actually happened in the 90s, not everyone else did.
Right.
So
people, especially like fans, they can be very, very, very judgmental of any change in sound. But then also very judgmental if you don't change your sound because you just did the same album over. And then if you do change your sound, why did you ruin a good thing? Right.
I feel like you get 3 albums. You get 3 albums that can be a cluster, and you can group them. And then if you're not evolving, and if you're not, it should be level A, level B, level C, and C should be close to the new. And I think U2 did a great job of that in their career, and that's what I look at. I mean, I look from their very analog delay pedal Memory Man in the 80s to more digital soundscapes in the 90s, pushing that really hard, and then actually like faking everyone out with Beautiful Day and All That You Can't Leave Behind, and coming back to an old new U2 sound. Because there's very keyboard heavy. There's a lot of winks, but they did the winks in a smart way.
Okay.
And I don't think there's a couple good tracks on How to Dismantle Atomic Bomb, and I don't think they've done anything good since.
All right. And when was that released?
2000 and thank you. And actually, I was listening to that album today actually.
2004, 22nd of November.
Okay. So, and then the funny thing is, so that album that I told you that they made very political, they had a song that they released as a single before they changed everything. And I like that song. It's raw. It's not got great lyrics, because Bono every once in a while he likes himself a little bit too much. Why can't he be a regular rock star and self-loathe himself? Yeah. So we'll pass Judgment. I'm gonna pass Judgment now, but we'll wait and see everything else.
I'll reserve my judgment, although I'm already quite critical of them as a whole. So we'll see.
All right. Cool. Well, you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.